Good evening, 6 o'clock, Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. I'm calling our Placerville Planning Commission regular meeting to order. Please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Please call the roll.
Chair Keeney,
Here.
Commissioner Stratton,
Here.
Commissioner Lepper,
Here.
Commissioner Sylvester,
Here.
and Smith absent
Okay.
with notice.
All right. We have no closed session reports tonight, so we'll move on to item 4, which is a discussion action item 4.1, motion for the Planning Commission to adjourn to meeting, I'm going to say it wrong, Sine Die, and appoint Director of Development Services as a temporary chairperson so that we can duly elect a chairperson for the Planning Commission. So I'll turn it over to our Development Services Director.
Thank you, Chair. At this time, I would like to call for nominations for the Chair of the Planning Commission.
Just one question. Can we do it without all 5 of us here?
I double-checked that.
Okay,
So
perfect.
It was a requirement in your bylaws previously where you had to have 5 members, but in the updated one, it was removed. And I know there was discussion, but I started panicking and started going through everything. So yes, we went through that.
Right, we took care of that problem. That was a problem in years past.
Yes, yes. Okay, great. I'd like to nominate Chris Keeney as for chair.
Do we have any seconds? Oh,
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chairwoman, I turn it back over to you for the vice chair elections.
All right. One question, is this appealable? This action item?
The city manager is indicating that it could be.
Okay, so I'll just state that all of our actions, for the most part, are appealable to City Council within 10 days. All right. Thank you for your support. At this time, I will take nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Amy Lepper.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Let's see, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll just go with aye. Do I abstain? Yeah.
You're so much
aye.
older than I
Why
am.
not?
Support yourself.
There, I like that. And no opposition. All right. So, having taken care of item number 4, trying to get used to working here on the screen. We'll move to the consent calendar, which all matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by general consent unless any commissioner requests a roll call vote. Or unless any member of the commissioner, staff, or audience wishes to remove an item for discussion. The item we have is the minutes of our previous meeting. Anyone like to pull those minutes?
I do have a question about them.
All right.
Do we need to pull them in order to?
Sure, we
ask
pull
the
them.
question?
Sure. Let the record note that Commissioner Stratton has pulled those minutes. So we'll move on to number 6 to discuss that.
I just wanted to verify, since we had done the election at the last meeting, if we need to indicate on the meeting minutes in any way that it had to be redone.
That'll show up on our next meeting for the meeting minutes for this one.
Okay. Because it said motion approved, but I wasn't sure since it was then pulled back.
We can make note that this item was addressed in these meeting minutes,
Okay.
or this meeting.
For tonight, for the 7th.
So no edits to the
No, we'll make a note that this, there were, that it was addressed, stumbling over my words, I'm sorry, to see the minutes from tonight's meeting as this item was redone.
Okay. Did anyone else have anything? Okay.
Right. All in favor of approving the minutes from our March 3rd meeting? Aye?
Aye.
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 4-0. We'll move on to item 7. Items of interest to the public and public comment on non-agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. State law prohibits the commission from taking action on items not listed on the agenda except by special action of the Planning Commission under specified circumstances. Would anyone in the audience, in the public, care to comment on non-agenda items? Okay, a shake of the head. Nothing came to mind. Great. We'll move on to 8, written communications on non-agenda items. We have none of those.
Correct.
And we have no presentations or educational workshops.
Correct.
So we'll move on to, nor do we have any public hearings, but we will go to item 11, continued items. And this is, our continued item is the site plan review of the Taco Bell on Broadway. And I will turn it over to staff for the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Carol Kendrick, Director of Development Services. We return this evening to discuss the continued item 11.1, which is site plan review 83-05-R for the Taco Bell remodel at 1240 Broadway. At our March 3rd meeting, the Commission heard a full staff presentation, the applicant's explanation of the remodel, and public testimony. The discussion focused on 3 elements, including the drive-through queuing and potential spillover onto Broadway, the engineering department's specific concerns with signing and striping, and the need for enforceable operational procedures. The Planning Commission expressed support for the overall remodel, but directed staff and the applicant to collaborate immediately on revisions, specifically finalizing keep clear striping and crosshatch painting, adding binding queue management triggers, and clarifying minor details. The item was continued to tonight with no opposition voiced, and the general consensus is that the project would move forward once those items were resolved. Key elements of the current proposal include elevations and painting. The building retains its existing massing and character. New finishes, though, will include Benjamin Moore Hanging Village Square ivy green on the walls and trim with accents in dark green, that's called Pittsburgh Heavy Cream, and black. Stone wainscot is power washed and matched where infill occurs. All obsolete canopies and drive-through windows are removed. The proposed colors match the existing center's theme, as expressed by the property owner at our last meeting. The preliminary plan retains 1,237 square feet of existing planting and adds and refurbishes 580 square feet of landscaping using low water species and ground covers. Irrigation is retrofitted to the water efficient landscape ordinance standards, and existing trees and shrubs remain where feasible. The reface pylon sign and new menu board sign total 57.9 square feet, well under the 85 square foot allowance. This site plan now includes explicit painting and striping, crosshatch with do not block intersection, hash lines, drive-through text, directional arrows, and do not stack sign, all in epoxy traffic paint. All other elements remain consistent with the March 3rd record. The 9-car maximum stack exceeding Taco Bell's 5-car standard, the reduction to 25 indoor seats, the reduction of parking spaces, noting that the project has a reciprocal parking agreement with the shopping center. They'll be including ADA ramps, a new menu board, and speaker pedestal. And this project continues to qualify for the Class 1 categorical exemption. I do have a couple housekeeping items. You do have the most up-to-date staff report and conditions of approval in front of you. Just some minor changes regarding minimum and maximum. That was kind of switched out on both of those, and fine-tuning the conditions of approval. I did speak with the applicant this evening, and he asked for a modification on condition 5 that would start at the end. So maintained in sound condition in coordination with the center shopping owner. It's in their CCNRs, but the city doesn't enforce CCNRs, but it's just to try to kind of tie that back to it. And the applicant has provided an updated queue management program, which is in front of you tonight. So at this time, staff recommends approval of the subject subject to the draft conditions of approval as modified tonight in attachment B. This time I recommend we open the continued public hearing, take any additional testimony, and approve the project with the modified attached conditions. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Would you please repeat the change? Was that, you said condition number 5 of the conditions of approval?
Correct. So it says parking lot paving shall be maintained at a PCI of not less than 56. Wheel stops and parking stalls stripes shall be maintained in sound. So if we add that, I think after 56. So no less than 56 in coordination with the center shopping owner. Wheel stops and parking stall striping shall be maintained in sound condition. So actually, yeah, moving that to be the end of sentence 1. Okay.
Okay, and so we also had the queue management program before us tonight as the hard copy. Is that correct? And that's the applicant's document?
Yes, that is.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have a question for staff? Staff report? Or any of the conditions of approval? Okay. You look puzzled.
Somehow I missed this earlier, but it looks like there's in page 10 of the PDF of the development plan. So item 11-1A, it has murals, but that's not described in the staff report. Is that part of the application?
So is that murals or I thought that was like decor for the lights.
Is it?
Is that sheet DD5-1?
DD 5-1.
Yes.
So yeah, that wasn't included. That was included in the signage,
Okay.
but it was not discussed specifically in the staff report.
But that's, in the staff report, you do mention that they're within the limit of what would be allowed based on the lineal frontage, and that includes then these 2 small murals. Is that correct?
I'm trying to see with my glasses. So actually, the total sign summary is 57.9, so that includes the murals. It just didn't specifically call them out in the staff report.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions about the staff report? Okay. Great. So at this time, we'd like you, if you would like to step up and present your project, and I don't know, we'll see if we have any questions for you. Good evening, and thank you for coming back.
Oh, my pleasure. My name is Philip Moss. It's been a month. It's all the same commission, or are there new commissioners?
Yes, minus one,
Minus one?
minus Mr. Smith.
Okay, but we have new commissioners? No?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure because how detailed I'll get in my presentation. We went over this pretty thoroughly last time. I apologize, those murals have been taken off at the request of the shopping center owner. Those were on the outside of the building, and they asked for us to remove them, so you don't see them on the exterior elevations. I don't know why they're remaining on the last sheet, but those are gone. Other than that, I just want to say we accept the conditions presented by staff. We also ask that the queue management plan become part of the record, so if you can include that in your motion to approve, that memorializes that issue. It's all the conditions we talked about last time, and we added the closer camera to the outside of the building that looks right at the drive-through entry. So when they're looking at the cameras of the drive-through lane, they can see that, and they will know that if this starts to get too busy, then they can open the other line and they can get the other employees working on other items other than cooking, but preparing the orders. So that's how we plan on moving things along. Other than that, the modification condition 5, actually probably not going to hear this too many times, but I'm the one requesting the addition to that, so that makes sure that our property owner coordinates with the shopping center owner, and we don't end up with a new paving right abutting an old paving with a hump or something. So we need to coordinate those items. So again, memorializing it, nobody can get out of it once it's memorialized in the approvals. And the modified condition 11 tonight, I haven't seen it, but I talked to the planning director, and we agree with it now. So we accept all the conditions, including the modifications of the condition 5.
Okay, and your concern about condition 11?
Well, originally it was written differently than your report tonight. The one I downloaded online was different than the one that was presented to you tonight, the amended package.
And that's number 11 is the queue management program?
Correct.
Chair, it was actually a comment, and that was an item that you brought up to staff, to where it wasn't written as a condition of approval. So that's the one he's questioning. And so there are updated conditions of approval. They're available on our website right now. They won't have the modification to condition number 5, but we've been trying to clean up those conditions as we go.
Yeah, I'm just trying to memorialize everything, so there's no question next week.
Condition 11, I had a question. This is the queue management program shall be implemented as an ongoing operational requirement. That's linked to the camera that's going to be installed. So that's how your staff will know when there's more than 9 cars?
Well, what this whole process is for us to know when we need to have 9 employees there and not 7.
Right.
So we know when the busiest hours are.
Mm-hmm.
So now we know we have a management plan that says, yes, when this happens, you have to have those 9 employees there. They cannot be on break, and they can't be doing other things. They need to be preparing orders.
Right. So you'll have the camera, and then you'll be monitoring, and then so it happens. You'll be like monitoring when it typically happens, so that you can schedule staff to be there, or
when the restaurant's open, it'll be on. We have actually somewhere around 10 cameras in that restaurant.
okay. And so you'll just bring staff.
We have monitors.
Staff that are already present, bring them into the kitchen and help with preparation to get your customers through. Okay.
Yeah, it's a key to track. I mean, there's a lot of times we won't need to be fully staffed or have both lines running. Because what we do is we take food out of where it's prepared and bring it into the line, and we have one line. And they'll have to bring more food out and open up the second line. So once they see that there's getting to be a busy in the drive-through lane, they will open up that second line and bring the other.
Oh, I see. So you physically have room to start a second line, and you have employees present so
Right.
that they can be called in to act quickly when the situation arises.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying, because that was something that I wasn't really sure how this was going to be implemented, and so now I understand it's going to be real-time monitoring.
Now, something when a manager is trained, he gets the binder that has this information in it, so they know what their duties are.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. That's my last concern with this, and I'll just say that I happened by that Taco Bell, and it does seem like things move through there pretty quickly, and hopefully we won't have any of the problems that had been experienced in the past. So,
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't do us any good to turn business away if it's too crowded.
right.
We try to keep it moving.
I had anybody else have a question about the operations?
I'm trying to get you out here by 6:30.
Oh. You don't, I did have a quick question about the color palette that you've chosen. And honestly, I'm just not that familiar right now with the rest of the shopping center, but it's indicated that these colors are used throughout the Hangtown Village Shopping Center.
Yes, I talked to the owners of the Hangtown Shopping Center, and they gave me their colors that they used.
I noticed the names were,
Yeah,
kind of
and
specified.
They were blended specifically for the center by a Sherwin-Williams, I believe, some
Okay.
store in town. And they gave us the name of the person that
So
blended.
you're going to blend in with the rest of the shopping center aesthetic?
Yes, we like the shopping center. It's not the typical Taco Bell colors, but it's a nice,
It is a big change from the one that you have now,
corporate's going to get mad at me.
but it is going to coordinate, blend in and with the rest of the shopping center. Wonderful. Other questions? Anything else you wanted to add? Anything else you want? Okay.
Very happy with the conditions.
Okay, thank you. Please take a seat. Again, I want to thank you for coming down and talking to us, taking time out and coming and representing and answering our questions. All right, there's no one else here, so we'll close the public portion of this hearing and bring it back to the commission for discussion and possible action. So I think all of our concerns have been addressed. Go ahead. Catherine?
So my understanding is that for condition of approval 11, it now no longer matches the queuing plan, the queue plan. So we need to modify the language just to maybe reference the queue management plan, the current one.
That was going to be my same question is, I really appreciate the camera because I know before we had talked about like them kind of eyeballing it and stuff, and that just seems cumbersome on the staff and dangerous. So I thought when I saw this camera, it's a great idea, easy to look at, easy to make moves on. So thank you for including that. But I had the same question is, do we need to add, because he wants it memorialized in the conditions, should we add this fourth bullet point from the queue management regarding add a camera on the outside? Was that what you're saying?
Well, or could we just reference this queue management plan in the conditions of approval and remove this list?
That sounds reasonable too. Yeah, I think so. Or sorry, yes.
We can do that. My suggestion would be to incorporate it into the conditions of approval because I don't have this electronically. Documents I get very nervous about that. So what I can do is add in the missing items into the condition of approval.
Okay.
if that is something that the Planning Commission is comfortable with.
And I think, so the way I'm reading the queue management plan is that a couple of these items that we originally had in the conditions of approval are now optional as needed. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm fine with it, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone saw that too. So it says, in the unlikely event the drive-through queue exceeds the length of the drive-through lane, then the store operations team would implement adding the additional equipment, adding the additional employees, and adding the curbside mobile pickup. So the way that I read that is that if we incorporate this the way that it's currently written, it's only as in a response to the need for it based on vehicles going beyond the drive-through lane length.
Right. But you also wanted to add the bullet point about the camera to condition 11 so that they can monitor? And so that is then a requirement?
Yeah, I think that should be a requirement, but I think the 3 bullet points above it, which are currently in here, I guess it's already written that way. Sorry. Slow thinking.
I think it covers everything, because I do think that these actions are only required when they do exceed the drive-through limitations of the
Right.
space. So to me, it seems sufficient.
Do you think it would be necessary in number 11, the queue management program shall be implemented? Do you want to say something like, it says ongoing operational requirement. Do you want to add language like real-time operational requirement? That is, they have the camera, they're monitoring, and so then they know to implement these 3 things.
So maybe the camera would be its own separate condition.
Oh, I think it's part of the queue management program. I think we had that right at the first. But just say that, that we're talking real time as opposed to, we're not talking about scheduling. We're talking about having people will be there to respond in the moment when it's needed. And they will, as he said, they're already going to build that second line to put together orders faster. But do you think that the wording real time is necessary? Do you think it's already included with operational?
I think that the way it's written is clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're okay with that? And then just add, that way, this is in our document as opposed to referencing another attachment that wasn't part of what was circulated before. So we'll just add that 4th bullet point about the camera outside the building to monitor in the kitchen area. Okay. Any other concerns, any other discussion?
I'd be open to making a motion unless
All
anyone
right.
has any.
If you'd like to make a motion, please do so.
I just had a really quick question. You mentioned that condition 11 was moved. What was the purpose of that?
Condition 11 originally read as a comment from engineering, and so it was brought to staff's attention, so that was provided by the engineering department. We just kind of plug them in, but so that was removed, and any of the comments were turned into actual conditions of
I see.
approval.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Right. That was a concern I had under the engineering conditions 12 and 13. So they've been modified to say that these things shall be painted, and the applicant shall add notes on the plans for signing and striping of the keep clear area. Okay. So a motion?
Sure. So I'd like to make a motion. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to adopt the staff report and Taco Bell queue management program as part of the public record, and to approve site plan review 83-05-R to approve the request for the remodeling of the restaurant at 1240 Broadway. I would like to make an edit to the conditions of approval to add to number 5 at the end of the condition. Will state wheel stops and parking stall striping shall be maintained in sound condition in coordination with shopping center ownership. And on number 11, to add a bullet point under the queue management program as a 4th bullet point, add a camera on the outside of the building and a monitor to the kitchen area to track the queuing in the drive-through lane. Once stacking gets to be more than 7 cars in the drive-through, implement the above action items.
All right, we have a motion.
Item 11 below engineering. Just item, condition 11 will be relisted as an engineering condition.
No, it doesn't need to be relisted.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I just thought of another thing that I would like to discuss
Well,
with you guys.
so we
if
have a
possible.
motion,
Okay.
and then we can have a discussion.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion. Can I get a second for the motion
I'll second.
from Ms. Sylvester? Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just realized in condition 5, when we're adding the language of that the parking lot painting would be maintained in coordination with the shopping center, is that problematic in any way in the sense that we're drawing the shopping center owner into this SPR?
It is part of their CCNRs for the shopping center and the project applicant, so they have to do it.
Okay, it's already
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
So no changes needed. Further discussion on the motion? All right. Please call the vote.
Commissioner Sylvester?
Aye.
Commissioner Lepper?
Aye.
Commissioner Stratton?
Aye.
Chair Keeney?
Aye. All right, 4-0. So as I mentioned before, all actions taken by the Planning Commission are appealable to City Council within 10 days, but it seems like you've taken care of all of our concerns. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Again, I want to thank you for coming down here, and good luck with everything.
Thanks for all your time.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. You don't have to leave.
I said 6:30.
All right. Item 12 is new business, of which we have none, and 13 is matters from commissioners and staff. I'll turn this over to staff to update us on the status of upcoming meetings and so on.
Thank you, Chair. For our next meeting on May 5th, yeah, Cinco de Mayo, we will be having our second housing opportunity overlay item come forward. So that's on Green Valley Road. Probably in our June meeting, we'll have the one on Coloma, which would wrap up those 3 to complete the majority of that program for HCD as part of our housing element implementation. They are really kind of cracking down on us, so we'll start seeing a lot more ordinance amendments in the next few months. And then really hoping to bring forward findings for projects. So our municipal code does not have findings listed for conditional use permits, site plan reviews, maps, and so I'd like to propose having findings in there. What I've looked in historical documents is sometimes there are findings, I don't know where they came from, and so I just wanted to memorialize that, so I'm really hoping to bring something forward where we have to make actual findings to approve the projects, and that's all I have for tonight.
So now we'll move to 13.2, Planning Commission matters. Listed is, we have a discrepancy on our agenda. It says 12.2.1, Historic Design Guidelines, but we're on item 13. What happened with our numbers? Oh, well. I'll let the staff please adjust the agenda so everything is in conformance, but we are on to the historic design guidelines, which I asked staff to keep this just as an ongoing thing so that we're reminded that of our work. Do we have any updates on the historic district guidelines? No, not tonight. And I apologize, I had meant to present something and I just got kind of wrapped up. Go ahead, Catherine.
So I actually was wondering if for now we wanted to just take it off the agenda until like it's further along, or do you want to leave it on?
I want to leave it on so that we're always reminded. Like
Okay.
it did, give me a reminder. I had something kind of in a draft form, and I just didn't finalize it in time to get it included in the package. So, it's good motivation for me, if no
Okay.
one else. So I don't know about the rest of you, but it's a reminder. How about?
I was just thinking along the same lines of with the work plan, since I feel like most of us are pretty familiar with it at this point, that maybe it could move to just being like a quarterly or every 6 months or something, just resource to keep us up to date.
Well, I think I would be comfortable with you doing that on a quarterly basis. I think would be fine.
I mean, if you're comfortable doing the same with the design guidelines, I know for my schedule, I have a deadline set for myself internally, for the things that I'm working on to just get to a certain point that would be probably closer to the end, like mid to end summer. So that would be about quarterly.
So you anticipate that you would have something else for our consideration, say August, for the August meeting, maybe September
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah.
We don't have an August meeting. Oh, well, not the first Tuesday because that's National Night Out, but we would have a meeting the third Tuesday, I guess, in August if there's other business, but otherwise it'd be September. So.
Yeah, we for the Planning Commission dates, we did not cancel the August meeting at this time. We had canceled the 2 meetings that coincide with the elections. But we can go ahead and cancel that, and then I can work with community services staff to see if this will be available on this 3rd Tuesday in August. So when we gave up the Tuesdays, somebody swooped right in. So, but like I said, they have allowed us to do the 3rd Tuesdays for the election dates. So I'll work with community services and see if they can keep that open for us as a potential, like I said, because I have till August 31st to implement several programs for the housing element. So I probably will have things that need to go forward.
Okay, yeah, that National Night Out is really big in the community, and so, people who would want to participate might be, have to make a decision. So we typically don't have our meeting on that first Tuesday in August.
That's great. I did my first one last year here, so I had a lot of fun.
Okay, great. And again, I plan to have something for our next meeting for the historic design guidelines. I got started with it and just got distracted, but and just to let you know what I'm working on is to make sure that we're focused on our direction from City Council, and so maybe it would just be a quick review so that we all stay focused on that and going in the right direction. I don't want to get too far afield before we report back to City Council on our progress. So that's all I was thinking of. So,
Okay.
all right. Any other matters besides historic design guidelines from the commissioners? Okay. Well, in an unprecedented move, it's 6:39 p.m. We stand adjourned until our May meeting, May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo, so.
Okay, Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
Have a good evening, everyone.